All right, today I'm going to show you how I completed the 2 challenges required to take Buff to Gear 12, or at least to get the last gear piece required to take him to Gear 12. The requirements were Buff, Xanterra, and 2 warriors. You cannot use mages, so I couldn't use my Mordoom. I went in with a buff lead to give him that extra speed. You could try Tromgar to give extra potency to Tromgar and Hard Orc, but that didn't really work out too well for me, so I just stuck with a buff lead. Now, the way you do this, at the very beginning, the enemy buff has pretty much all the buffs in the game on him, so you can't really do much. So basically what you want to do is just wait until he loses those buffs. Do not use your buff's second ability until those are gone. So kind of buff up your own team in the meantime. And as soon as those go away, try to apply your buffs, debuffs, on the opponent buff. As you can see, the first time I tried that, I only applied a damage decrease, which didn't really do much for me, but that's alright. Later on, you'll see that I start applying more. And that's basically the key to winning this, to apply debuffs. More specifically, armor decrease, a buff immunity, so the enemy buff can't get any buffs, slow, ability block, and blind. Those are the key ones to try to apply. And then I went in with Eric's Shieldbreaker. I think he's very crucial for this because Eric's Shieldbreaker's third ability gives your whole team a debuff immunity, so the enemy buff can't apply debuffs onto your team as long as those are on, or the debuff immunity is on your characters. And he also hits hard. He's probably the hardest hitter on my whole team right here, so you kind of need him for those 2 reasons. Xanterra, I mean, she's cool, she heals, but other than that, yeah, just apply the debuffs and you'll be fine. Now I should mention that my Eric Shieldbreaker, Tromgar, and Hard Orc are Gear 12 in the making of this video. And then my Xanterra and buff are Gear 11. And also my buff has a potency of 71%, which I'll show you at the end of the video. I'll get the exact number for you. But yeah, even with 71% potency, I still couldn't land a lot of debuffs. So you gotta kind of try to either match the 71% potency or beat it, because that's what I had to beat this. So I struggled a little bit here, but I ended up pulling it off. You just have, it's all RNG based. You have to land debuffs. You will win it if you land the debuffs. If you only land debuffs like once or twice in this whole match, you might not win it unless you could power through, like you have insane gear or runes on your characters. But that's how I did the first one. The second one was not that bad. It wasn't as bad as the first one, I should say. You need buff, Kiri, and 4 demons for this, and you can't use warriors, which wasn't a problem. So I basically just went in with a full demon team, and of course Mordoom, so 4 demons and Mordoom. And what I did here is I went straight for Mordoom first, the enemy Mordoom. And that's because he could debuff your Kiri, so take away her taunt when she has it. You don't want that. And also he could apply a lot of debuffs. You also don't want that. So I went for him first, take him out. And every time the enemy Kiri attacks or gets taunt, just wait till you get your Mordoom and use the basic on her. She should lose the taunt. So yeah, I did ignore buff and Kiri at the beginning, but the strategy worked out for me. Next, I went for Venomate. I didn't have to go for Venomate, but I just figured why not. He was really squishy, so I just kind of took care of him next. And the reason why I put Venomate in as my 4th demon is because he's kind of bad. There's not much he could do, so he wasn't a big threat to me. If I would have put in a better demon like Kyra or anyone else really, it could have given me a harder time. So I just went with the weakest demon that I had, and that was Venomate. And then I attacked Buff. That's one thing I learned about these challenges. You don't always have to use the strongest characters that you have, especially for these mirror matches, because you're mirroring your team. So you're going to go against the same exact team that you're using. So you want to make things harder for yourself. So yeah, this was definitely easier to do. I was able to apply more debuffs on Buff in this challenge than the first one. The only downside to this matchup is that it kind of takes a while. You know, you got a good defender and a decent healer, so you know it's kind of time consuming, I guess, but it's not that bad. Next, I went for Xantera, just to get rid of the healer, and then after that, just autoed the battle. So as soon as I take out the healer, I just hit auto and I just wait. And that's it. So these challenges, they might take you a few times to complete, but it's definitely doable as long as you land those debuffs on the first challenge. And then yeah, this last gear piece is actually pretty good. It gives Buff 3 speed, 2000 health, 5% potency, 5% tenacity, and 200 penetration. I really like the fact that it gives Buff speed, so that's a good thing. And then my Buff's potency is 71.88%. So like I said, either match that or go beyond that. I would recommend going beyond that to really land those debuffs. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time. So yeah, that's how I completed the last 2 challenges. Hopefully this video helped you out. It was beneficial. And yeah, if you like what you see, drop a like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Later.